All right, welcome everybody to round two. We've got ambivalent thoughts at the bottom of your screen. We have got the Overmaster at the top. Now, one quick detail you can see up at the top if you look at the scoreboard. This is one game already to the Overmaster, so these players are quick. They jumped in and had a very quick game one. So Theo somehow took that first game one real fast while we were talking over some things. So Theo is up a game. So it's 1-0 the Overmaster. But also, this is a pretty intense matchup. The Ambivalent Thoughts and the Overmaster are both in wildcard contention. You can see number 4 and number 5 on the leaderboard right now. So both players got a lot to prove tonight, but let's jump in because it's turn 2 and we've already got a 2-1 and a 4-4 lifesteal out.
Yeah, so Theo really utilizing the 14 cards in their hand to their advantage to be able to cheat some of these units into play, um, and Ambi kind of just having a little bit of potential like stumbles in terms of their curve. Like maybe they're not able to play a 3 because they know that they have the support coming out, so they're gonna have to play a Seek Power next turn. And one thing that's actually very interesting to me is how the one of the new cards, Manacles, ends up lining up against these mana stacks. So the thing is, if you're able to sack one of the units, then the other unit is able to get unlocked from the
Mm-hmm.
Manacles.
Mm-hmm.
And Elding of the Final Hour is a perfect sack outlet.
Yeah.
One thing to note is that Auto Tread also does not care where it points its damage at. So in theory, you can also kill one of your own units, like if one of them is small with Auto Tread to unlock it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points there. And look at this blistering fast start from the Overmaster. One thing I wanted to note about Manacles is there is a bug actually with Manacles and Reappropriator. Now, there's not much we can do about it, so the players have been told basically just play at your own risk. Something where the summon gets switched over, so you basically get to play the Manacles again, something weird like that. But all the players know about it. We had a big discussion today, so just if you see something weird with that, there will be something where don't Reappropriator Manacles or Reappropriator at your own risk. But not sure that's going to come up here because the Overmaster is just blitzkrieging here. Just incredible speed and ambivalent thoughts. You don't usually see the Valkyries deck at 6 on turn 3, just trying to get some units down. They're usually pretty more proactive than that. But wow, this is quite the start from Theo in presumably game 1 and also game 2.
Yeah, so one thing that Elding has allowed for is these mana stacks have typically not been the fastest. We saw last season Sile being played, but that's a little bit grindy card and Whispering Wind Shells. But now that you have Elding, you're just able to generate a board a lot quicker, some subset of your games, but you're still able to play a really good like grindy aspect sort of game where you can like even here just send a message as a clean 2-for-1, and you still got the value of the auto tread, and just ultimately too much for Ambi.
Wow, and that was a very very quick match. So we should hopefully get some get some backup matches here. So let's head over to, let's see. We've got Aquadome versus r3as0n. So Aqua's always got something fun here. So let's check out what
Yeah.
Aqua's playing against r3as0n here and see if we can pull up this one.
Yeah, so Aqua should be playing the Mana Shadow deck. If you're not watching Aquadome stream, it's one of my favorites to have on in the in the background, just really chill and nice.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so r3as0n over here, I think on a Feln mid-range deck.
Yeah, it looks like it. But look at this active speaking circle with no pressure from Aqua. That's going to be tough for a Mono Shadow deck to deal with, especially with no units out there. I have a feeling we might see Queen of Glass here.
Oh wow, yeah, just not really having much units, many units, and
Now, actually, this will be a good chance for us to talk about this. What do you think of Queen of Glass, or sorry, Speaking Circle in this new Expedition format? In the old Expedition format, had to get nerfed slightly, and even after the nerf was still one of the most powerful, top end cards in Expedition. But now, from Friday's experience and from some ladder play, it almost just doesn't even seem that impactful anymore. Obviously, it is here, but what do you think of Speaking Circle in new Expedition?
yeah, so it really depends on the pacing of the games. So given that if you're playing a more controlling deck, you have to be able to ward off like early 4/4s that might already prove a little bit difficult. So it might be harder to generate Speaking Circle on a board that's closer to parity. We've also seen just like metagame wise that a lot of people have flyers, so a lot of the times in your more controlling decks, you want to be trying to get value out of your different like a lot of the good value units end up being grounders. So if Valks is more popular and stuff like that, then you just end up in a situation where you're kind of just not able to like once again get to some sort of parity. But if everything goes back to being way more mid-range and not as fast, then I could see like how it's playing out here with the speaking circle makes a lot of sense given Aquadome's deck composition.
Now, this is really interesting. Aqua does have Devouring Shadow in hand, and that's actually a pretty good answer to Queen of Glass. It'll be interesting on this next turn. If Aqua does not draw another power, do you make Queen of Glass a 1/1? Because it buys you a lot of time, but then you almost have to use another removal spell to be able to kill anything else. So it's pretty awkward both ways, depending on what you have there. And
I
Gentleman
think
Juan D'Angelo here is going to hurt Aquadome's hand, but I think it's tough. You got to get rid of one of these, right? It's 2 cards.
no,
Oh,
you
they
keep
keep
two.
2. Okay, so they kept that. That's fine. Or before I toss it over to you, Watchwolf, a couple thank yous. I am straight. Thank you so much for gifting 5 subs. Wow, the generosity. Thank you so much. I am straight. We really appreciate it. 4 subs here. Gibbon plus plus, Prerubin, Saris22, and T-Mat AU. Congratulations, all. Everybody, give a big shout out. Thank you to I am straight for doing a fantastic job and supporting us and giving those gifts out, those gifted subs. We really appreciate it. This community is awesome.
Yeah. So one thing you are able to do is you can play the Molder Muck to kind of buy a little bit of time to try to get the 7th power. You do have to ask yourself like what a winning board state looks like. Um, and I feel like I would play the Molder Muck, but I understand that you might just be able to try to stem the bleeding, deal with the Queen of Glass later. Like if you just have enough units that are big enough, maybe you can just block everything else and deal with the Queen later. But I don't know, it's kind of just an uphill battle. Decay does play pretty well against Queen of Glass, though.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, Defile is going to be able to take that out. Backup copy of Defile in hand as well, and then just put the Ambitious Mandevilla as well out there, and just going to be too much there. Aqua's just kind of falling behind here. Not much they're going to be able to do. I mean, beating a Queen of Glass in active sight is hard enough, but plus handful of removal. When your opponent's got the board advantage and the hand advantage, it's not looking pretty.
Yeah, so it's just it looks like from when we came into the game, like the way the top cards of the deck lined up, Aquadome wouldn't have been able to do much, and we'll kind of see this result happening. But I think it's going to game 3 though, right?
It
That
is,
was a
yeah.
reason winning game 2.
Yeah, that was reason winning game 2. So let's take a look at that mono shadow deck here that Aqua was just sporting. And this one's pretty sweet. Mono shadow, and not your traditional mono shadow, not the old mono shadow with the 5/5 golem and just play big things cheap. This is quite different.
Yeah, so kind of trying to adapt to the new format and tools of Expedition. So we're kind of like you do have a 1 drop that you might not even play on 1 and a 2 drop, but you're really starting your curve at 3 with some haymakers and Molder Muck and Reappropriator. For the early turns, you're kind of focusing more on removal or disruption with exploit. So you get to Fatal Misstep or Nectar early and kind of just hope that each of the cards that you're playing up the curve are impactful enough on their respective turns.
All right. TV Kelly, thank you so much for the follow. We really appreciate it. Thank you again for all the support. You all are great. Thank you so much for that. And here we go. Aqua gonna go mold a 6, unfortunately, for Aqua here. But you got all those Shadow Sigils in hand. You got some removal, and you've got an Elding, so not a bad start. But Exploit gonna say no to one of those cards.
Yeah, the problem in the matchup is the removal spells are effectively dead, so Reason can kind of hold off on Vine Grafter until turn 5 to be able to activate it right away, and then everything else is kind of just like a heavy hitter from there. You have the Ambitious Mandevilla, and then I think that's it for units, just that and the Vine Grafter.
Oh, unfortunately for Aqua, they do draw some gas in the form of Impending Doom, but Reason has the perfect answer for it in Permafrost. And that's
Oh
just gotta
wow.
hurt. Now, I think Aqua's
Yeah.
got enough life where like that 1 damage probably not gonna matter. But yeah, that's like the perfect answer there. Yeah, tough.
Well, something that's kind of incidental is if Aqua chose to not play the 2/1, or okay, even with how this lines up, you're not able to play the ambitious Mandevilla because it still has to eat something. Oh, it's may kill. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's a
Never
May.
mind. Does not have
No
to eat,
worries. That
so
it.
can still develop this turn.
Well, there might not be any zombies on the board, but Glenn is not going to last long. He's going to be hit the void, and Reason's going to steal it. Take that out there. Nothing doing for Aqua, just some power and some removal. Going to go ahead and exploit, which is going to be nice. It could take out that Mandevilla, but I feel like Aqua really wants some action and not an exploit at this point. Not bad. You won't complain about the exploit, but oh, and look at this, devouring shadow their own impending doom to not take damage. Wow, aggressive.
Yeah, so the main cost there is not being able to have a market. Oh, okay. Well, I want to say that before it was drawn, but you can't activate this right away. So if a removal spell is played on the Vine Grafter, then you're kind of just down one. But um,
All right, well,
you
there's
know, it
reappropriator.
not not
Can't
quite.
take the
Yeah,
Gale House, unfortunately.
we need to staple two together. We need a
Yeah.
6 power, 6/2 regen double flying, and then you can steal it. And we'll call it the reappropriator. It's like refried beans. Like you fried it once and then
Yeah.
you fried it again.
Exactly. Cover from the storm. Speaking of doing things twice, if we wanted to, we'd cover from the storm, pop these regens, take it out again. All right. There's ambitious Mandevilla here. Wonder if
Yeah,
Aqua just plays
so
it out, yeah, just to get more action. There we go. That Aqua needed to draw units, and they drew Vinegrafter, Reappropriator, Mandevilla. Unfortunately, I
yeah,
think Reason
so
still has the answers, though.
yeah, it is interesting that Reason's choosing to just draw and play the permafrost instead of just play the two deal through damage cards. Maybe there's just no wrong way to eat these Reese's, but so it's kind of tough to say, but I think allowing the Vine Grafter to go off once was an interesting decision.
Mm-hmm.
But it did allow Reason to pull ahead more on cards. You're only able to use the relic that they got from the blueprints only once a turn. So, kind of just maximizing that and saying, hey, if I just have more quantity of cards than you, I think I could just beat anything you throw at me. And
Speaking
also
of
saving.
Speaking
I'm
of
sorry.
quantity of cards, Traveler's Guildhouse going to pay 6 to draw a card and drawing Crackling Bauble, and that's exactly what Reason wants to be able to end the game. We'll see if they have enough time to deploy that, but with 10 power in hand, potentially going to be able to. I don't even know if Aqua can afford to take the Bauble here. There's
Mhm.
too much other things that I think Aqua needs to worry about. The Bauble is almost the late game win con. Reason can play that out. If Reason's able to stabilize, they can just drop the Bauble whenever. No rush on that. Yeah, gonna take out the Mandevilla instead.
Yeah, it's still hard to play around. Like, if you play this Arak, then your opponent gets to just play the 2 deal 3 damage to everything's. But I guess that still leaves the Arak alive, but
I wonder if we
they
see all
also know
three.
that.
They have the Vicious Overgrowth as well. So if Reason
Exactly.
wants to go Storm Overgrowth, they can make some vicious plays here and take out pretty much Aqua's entire board. Actually, literally Aqua's entire board.
Yeah, and this is also a spot where you can kind of take a pause, look at the open deck list, and you can say, okay, what are the ways I can actually lose the game? Like, if I could stack Aquadome's deck, how do I lose? And then you just make sure you play around those. But
Well, his name is
it's
Reason, not Storm Blessed or Stormguard, but calling up the storm here. Double storm cards, taking out Aqua's entire board, Aqua, and then firing up with the blueprints as well. And that's going to be really nice. As you mentioned, just get card advantage, and Aqua now drawing some removal spells. Nothing doing against what Reason's deck is. But, the Nectar of Unlife's going to be able to get something back at least. But still, Reason firing off here has another blueprints in hand. So lots of options for that card advantage. Reason can really push it here.
Yeah, with the score being, 1-1 fighting for game 3, just it's it's kind of a tough situation from Aqua, but never give up in these situations. You just never know how you're going to be able to get back into it. And this like Eric is a very good card to get back. Like your opponent already used some board clear,
Mm-hmm.
but we know from Reason's hand having yet another board clear in the what's it called? Fall to
Fall to
Ruin,
Ruin, yep.
and there's just no sign of the card stopping because Shadow's not the most known for its relic removal.
Yeah, and by not the most known, meaning it's really, really bad. Got the reappropriator, I guess, but again, as we already pointed out, your 6 cost and 7 cost relics, not what reappropriator was built to do. Another removal spell to draw for Aqua, so gonna follow up with that Iraq, but Fall to Ruin is gonna take Dwayne the Johnson down along with his buddies, and then fire up with a speaking circle as well. Oof.
Yeah, I actually think like, this match is already, looking how it looks. But I actually like how each of these decks you can kind of glean how they feel about the metagame. So Aquadome is kind of trying to address the early game units, has a lot of these catch-all elements where you have these executes and devouring shadows and things that are able to deal with, say, the Pale Riders or cards with regen. Like the shadow removal is very strong there and trying to play a really good mid-range plan. And Reason saying like, hey, I also acknowledge a lot of people are going to play mid-range, so I'm just going to be a little bit slower, be a little bit more grindy. So I like how their opinions are shown here. It's just in this particular matchup, Aquadome wasn't really expecting Reason, and Reason was expecting a deck like Aquadome's and kind of being able to prey on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really like when the meta can do that. I mean, it's very early in the format, of course, but I really like how there is a lot of variety in the Expedition meta game right now. It seems pretty healthy, and it's not like someone's discovered the deck that takes down everything else. I mean, we'll get a count from our TOs, but it seems like there's a large variety of decks that we've seen both tonight and over the weekend. But this is going to be pretty good. You've got the active site. You've also got that regen Moldermuck out, and we've seen a regen Moldermuck be just absolutely brutal. The mobilization, I love it. Love the foily beasts off of the off of the foil speaking circle here. Just more removal here for Aqua, which I guess is okay in this format and in this setup, but it's going to be kind of close here. It's going to be tough for them to get back into it without some threats. I think this one's lining up to be all Reason at this point.
One thing I do like about our series here, the TNA, is just like regardless of whatever opens coming up, it's just every format is relevant. You just see them develop at different paces. So everyone's trying to solve the throne format, except for maybe those in the invitational, since that's dual format.
Mm-hmm.
But since things aren't necessarily going to be addressed by as many people, you can still see a lot of like cool, wacky decks, innovations, things that people are overlooking, pet decks, and I'm just excited to see every expedition game.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That is one really fun thing about these formats and about these tournaments.